Hey, welcome into the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Week 13. This is where it all counts. The big week before the playoffs start. Hopefully for you, your playoffs start week 14 through 16. I'm your co-host, Mac, joined as always by the star of the show, the man that's been holding it down for us, Lando. Just want to say a quick thanks to you. I was away this week, but you did an excellent job with producer Scott holding down the fort. So happy to be here with the YouTube star and get to some of these questions today.
Absolutely, Mac. I am jacked. This is the make or break week, guys. This is the playoff primer. We are making some really tough start sit decisions to help you win your leagues or get into the playoffs, and then anything can happen in the playoffs. We've seen CJ Anderson be a league winner. We've seen
That's gross to say.
all kinds of players once you're in, and then if you make these savvy moves, and anything can happen. So, Mac, I'm jacked. I'm excited for our listeners. Get your questions in right now. We will get every single question answered. And you can listen to my sultry voice. It is mom approved.
Absolutely it is. We are going to go through news and notes real quick. We have them up on the screen beside us, but in case you want to hear us talk through some of these, we're going to do so as always, like we do each and every week. 15 of you watching right now, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and like Landon said, leave your question down below and we will get to it guaranteed 100%. Not like some of the other big streams out there. We get to every single question. So this is the best place to come to get your questions answered. Okay, starting with the outs. Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift. Now, James Conner there's a potential that he'll play, but in that, if I had to put like a probability on it, we're looking at like a 5% probability. It's very unlikely that James Conner will suit up on Tuesday. So no James Conner. Kenny Golladay has been ruled out, as well as Jonnu Smith and Alexander Mattison. So if Dalvin Cook, who we expect will play, doesn't, Mike Boone will be the next man up for the Minnesota Vikings. So that kind of
that's one of those last minute ads that you could just shove into the flex spot. He's not going to be a high upside play, but he's going to give you a safe floor. So
100%.
Well, that's why you keep tuned to us. Now, I do believe DeAndre Swift is listed as doubtful currently, but I'm not expecting him to play. No. It will be announced while we're streaming that he is out.
Correct. Now, in question, but should play. Now, our questionable list is basically we expect them all to play. We're looking at Julio Jones, Todd Gurley, Allen Robinson, Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's dealing with an illness, not COVID, but an illness. Philip Lindsay, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was activated from the COVID-19 list, should play this coming week on, I believe. Wait, did they play Tuesday?
They play Tuesday.
Okay. Pittsburgh plays Monday. My apologies about James Conner. But 2 later games in the week. What do you think about, it's so funny to hear right now in the realm of this pandemic about an illness. Like, an illness not related to COVID-19 just sounds crazy. It's like, wait, people still get sick? There's still a flu? Like, what?
I know. I'm going to fade Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little bit this week. We were seeing, I know Le'Veon Bell's snap share was only around 30%, but we were seeing him more in the most important parts of that game where the game wasn't out of hand. It was still competitive, and we were wondering where the heck Clyde was in that game. So I think you can, just because of the question mark around Clyde this week, I hope he just sits down and then Le'Veon Bell becomes a very good start.
Yeah, I'm
this week.
Sitting down Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the potential huge breakout full workload game from J.K. Dobbins. That's I'm deciding between 2 rookies this week, and that's where I'm going.
So we're getting a lot of those questions.
Absolutely. And that's why J.K. Dobbins is on the cover today, boys.
That's literally what I was going to say.
All right, and then the ins. So J.K. Dobbins, the reason probably why you're here, or why you came to this video, he is activated. We expect him to play, have a full workload. They do play on a Tuesday, so if you have somebody else later in the week that plays on a Monday, for example, or a late Sunday. Put those guys in your flex, and then that gives you some flexibility later tonight to make a decision. If you're behind and you need the big game, maybe J.K. Dobbins is the play for you. If you need a safer option, guaranteed to play, maybe you roll that over Dobbins. Put them in your flex so you have that flexibility. Myles Gaskin was activated along with David Johnson, so they should be good to go. And Josh Jacobs is out, and Devontae Booker is going to get a ton of work. Landon and I had a debate about Devontae Booker and his usage on yesterday's podcast. So Apple Podcast, Snap Fantasy Football Podcast, you'll find us there. Brandon Ayuk has been activated. Tua Tagovailoa is going to get the start over Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Colt McCoy coming in lieu of Daniel Jones, who is now injured.
I know we're going to get a lot of Myles Gaskin questions today, but I think we should look to something and really get into it right now, because Myles Gaskin will get the full workload. I believe Ahmed is out, Breida is out. He's kind of the only guy in that backfield right now. And against Cincinnati, it's a really good matchup. Tua Tung,
I believe Matt Breida is out as well. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said, I think. Yep. Everyone's out, basically. It's only going to be Myles Gaskin, and Tua Tagovailoa is at quarterback. He doesn't pass the ball that much, so they're going to be running like crazy. Myles Gaskin early in the season was what James Robinson was too. He was playing well. He was scoring touchdowns, and he could be just a fringe running back one this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, 22 of you in the stream, 9 likes. Let's get these likes up. Let's go. It's week 13. We've been going strong. Let's hit the chat, Landon, and start working through some of these questions. Number 1, we've got Corey. Welcome in, Corey. Full PPR projected to win by a lot. That's good for context. Need 2 running backs from Zeke, Mostert, David Johnson, Gio, Benny Snell, and Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to...
Starting with the tough one, Mac. Starting with going against these big names versus the not so big names.
I don't know if it's huge. I don't know if it's that tough. Like, I think Jonathan Taylor is definitely a play here. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see him as a risky option.
No, he's not. He wouldn't be a risky option. We have him and Zeke very close to each other in the rankings. Zeke plays Baltimore. It's really not a good matchup. I think Taylor versus Houston presents floor and upside. I believe
so as well. And then Zeke, kind of fading Zeke as well in a tougher matchup. I might go Raheem Mostert there with some confidence.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Mostert as well versus Baltimore, or versus Buffalo, I mean. So I have Mostert ranked the highest. He's a top 12 running back for me this week. I would go Mostert and Taylor out of those guys.
And when people think about the Buffalo Bills, they typically think good defense, and they are. They are top 6 against the fantasy quarterback. They're top 6 against the fantasy wide receiver. That secondary is stout, but they're giving up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks and the 8th most to running backs. You can run on the Buffalo Bills. That is the bottom line here. And so I think that Raheem Mostert is an absolute must start. From that group, love the question, Corey. Thank you so much for coming by. Leave a like and get that playoff spot, my man. Don't have to do anything fancy there this week.
Yep. Sounds good.
Noah, our boy Noah. Welcome back.
Noah, back
he's been
to
coming
chat.
Each and every week, hyping up the channel. Love it. Noah is projected to win by 20 in a full PPR. He has a super flex question, which is always fun, just like our listener league. Wayne Gallman, Matthew Stafford, Latavius Murray, or Amari Cooper. I know the obvious choice is usually the QB, but I'm a bit worried about Stafford. I kind of am as well.
Yeah, without Swift,
Kenny
Galladay again, it's gonna be, and they released Marvin Hall, which was a weird release from them.
Absolutely. So it's Marvin Jones Jr. and it's probably a ton of work for T.J. Hawkinson against a pretty solid Chicago Bears secondary.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, man, that's tricky. I mean, Wayne Gallman presents a very safe floor. Latavius Murray.
I'm leaning kind of Latavius here, Landon.
You're leaning Latavius over Gallman. I would still lean Gallman over
Okay.
Latavius this week.
You just look to the power run scheme that those Saints have been like really committed to. But good news there, if you haven't heard, Drew Brees, which 11 fractured ribs, like going through hell right now. He's actually trying to come back to play next week, week 14.
Yeah, he's throwing already, which is just
Bizarre.
crazy.
Absolutely bizarre. Like, I don't know about you, but I've had a couple fractured ribs, and it's tough sleeping. Like, if you roll over in the middle of the night, it's like someone punched you in the gut. The fact that he has 11 and he's considering full-grown men, ridiculous athletes coming and tackling him with, like, I can't comprehend that mentally.
I know. I would not. I would stay away from Amari Cooper there, Noah. I know he has been good in that space, but he also has a chance to bust. Anyone has a chance to bust when you have Andy Dalton throwing them the football. Of course, he has the big game, but if you're going to go floor, you still got to go quarterback because he still has a chance to throw a touchdown, of course. But if you want to go floor and go with a running back, yeah, Max says Murray, I say Gallman. So thanks for the question, Noah. I know you've already liked this video, but thanks for coming by every single week. We will get to every one of your questions, guys. We have 23 people watching. Let's get these likes up. We will get to everyone and get you into the playoffs.
That is the goal. Let's go. Drowsy loves comp. What? Okay, which one do I start between Alan Lazard, Deebo Samuel, and Marvin Jones Jr.? I think this one's clear and obvious.
I want to say you want to go Deebo Samuel. Yeah, and I don't blame you. Deebo, I believe, presents a good upside play. He's a top 24 wide receiver for me this week. He has the only issue is he has Nick Mullins throwing him the ball. And, like the thing, you have Alan Lazard with Aaron Rodgers, an absolute stud quarterback. And now you have Nick Mullins. And we've done this dance weeks before where Deebo can do so much yards after catch. He is a phenom yards after catch. They put the offense around him every week, and he'll do so much. But I still think it's risky with Mullins at quarterback position. But you still are
confident. I understand why you think it's risky, but Nick Mullins started last week. Deebo Samuel comes back, has an awesome game. And why I like Deebo Samuel is he gets those, handoffs out of the backfield, those jet sweeps, that zone running scheme that Kyle Shanahan is just so brilliant in implementing. Like, Deebo Samuel has some floor with what he does rushing the football. Also, Nick Mullins is competent enough to throw a little slant, and Deebo has that yard after catch, breakaway speed, and toughness that it takes to get chunk yardage. So, yeah, it might not be a volume play with Deebo. I'm not expecting, 8-9 receptions here, but I'm expecting maybe 4 to 5 receptions for bigger yardage. I could see Deebo like 4 for 80, no problem here. So I love it. I like this play.
Yep, go Deebo. Marvin Jones Jr. is still a decent play, but they play Chicago again. We're a little bit concerned about Stafford and that offense as a whole. Even if Swift was playing, I would you'd have to start him, but I would try to get away from him in this matchup. So I like it. Thanks for the question. Drowsy loves comp. Hopefully you can start Deebo with confidence, my
Jay
dude.
Fang, what up? Start 3. It's Terry McLaurin's, Woods, Jefferson, and Gaskin in a full PPR.
Does the injury or the banged up of Terry McLaurin against Pittsburgh concern you?
That's the only place I would potentially fade. Do you want to take a gamble that Myles Gaskin is healthy enough to play to a full workload with no competition in the backfield? I think that's where I would go over a banged up McLaurin in a really bad matchup against Pittsburgh. So I would probably go Woods, Jefferson, Gaskin.
Love it.
PPR. Even if Myles Gaskin isn't 100%, he should still get a ton of checkdowns if Tua's in the game.
Yep. Confidence level in Devontae Parker now with Tua at quarterback.
Still fine.
Okay.
It's certainly less. The ceiling has dropped a little bit since because Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's been great for fantasy football. He has a deep ball. He loves to throw it downfield, and that's a different style than what Tua throws. He's pretty conservative, short over the middle, and that doesn't really speak to Devontae Parker's big games. but he's still a red zone threat. So
He's got more of a 10-point floor instead of a locked-in 20
I know,
point
yeah, that's
game
what it feels like,
from
right?
Fitz.
But to Scott's
Yeah.
point, who really loves Devontae Parker, like Devontae Parker's a great talent, and we've seen him for the past 2 seasons be a very viable, wide receiver 1 for that team. So I'm still okay with Devontae Parker, but the ceiling has dropped a little bit.
Perfect. Just excellent. I love it. Evan Rodriguez.
Also, shout out to Easy. What's up? What's up, Eric? Evan,
Yo.
happy playoff weekend. Hell yeah. I guess you start early, maybe. We're gearing up to try to make the playoffs in some of our leagues. Half PPR Landry versus the Titans or Juju versus Washington.
I would go. So even though Landry just had a really big game, I don't.
Tons of targets.
I'm not retaining. Yeah, I'm not retaining confidence in Landry to repeat.
Okay.
So I would go Juju here.
What? Okay, so if you need a ceiling play, who's your guy?
It's tough. You know what? It's really tough because Landry's the only guy in that offense. We've seen him struggle all year. He finally got that, and it could continue that he's the go-to guy in the red zone and between the 20s, etc. Where Juju is a good wide receiver in an offense, he could be the number 1, but Deontay is the number 1, and Claypool's getting that work. So the ceiling play, I suppose Landry has a ceiling, but I believe the floor play, I don't know. They're tricky guys. They're back-to-back in my ranks.
You look to the Browns, and when the Browns can't run the football, that forces Baker to throw. And you see a lot of Jarvis Landry. The Cleveland Browns have been able to run the ball a ton. I feel like last game was a little bit of an anomaly in the usage of Jarvis Landry. When we look at the Tennessee Titans, they are giving up the 5th most to quarterbacks, the 7th most to running backs, the 12th most to wide receivers, the 8th most to tight ends, really just getting beaten across the board in fantasy matchups. So I kind of like Landry here because I think that they'll be able to run the ball with a lot of success with Hunt and Chubb, and that's going to force them to maybe sell out and stop that run, which I think opens up things for the passing game. Now, they're going to still try to impose their will on the ground, but that will give Jarvis Landry maybe a little bit extra room to work. So I like him over Juju Smith-Schuster. I just think there's so many weapons there in Pittsburgh, and it could be a Deontay Johnson game. It could be a Chase Claypool game. Juju just kind of, to me, seems a little bit lost in that wide receiver core.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Griffin, back in the chat. What's going on, guy? My guy. He's guys. It's like I'm talking to my YouTube. Like I'm talking to everyone. No, I'm talking to Griffin.
What's up, guys? It's Lando.
Yep. All right.
I think he's just making a comment.
He's just making a comment. Yeah. I was like,
what's up, Griffin? Good luck to you today. I'm sure you'll be back with a question. Hunter, welcome back in to the stream. Appreciate you being here. Jamal Jones needs a tight end, and Jonnu Smith is out, so he is dealing with that. Dalton Schultz, Kyle Rudolph, or Trey Boo Boo? I'm
going with Kyle Rudolph this week. I think he's in a really good spot. In a game where they should score a lot of points versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville could also score a lot of points versus the Vikings. So I like Kyle.
I think I would still go Trey Burton. I know that it's a tight end carousel there in Indy. It's very close between Kyle Rudolph and Trey Burton, but I think Trey Burton just has the tendency to be targeted a ton by Phillip Rivers. A little bit of news on Phillip Rivers actually today. He is preparing to have foot surgery in the offseason. So
yeah, that turf, it's worse than turf toe. But he should play. He should be fine. I'm not too concerned with the pass catchers in Indy. It could lead to more rushing for the backs potentially, but hopefully they don't keep bringing in Jacoby Brissett for those goal line plays.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Rudolph or Trey Boo. Man, it's tough. I don't know if there's a. I would definitely not play Dalton Schultz against. Do you agree on that? Dalton Schultz is out of this
Correct. Yeah.
equation.
Yeah. Do not play Dalton Schultz.
The Houston Texans are giving up the 15th most points to the tight end, so it's a middle of the road matchup for him. The Vikings, however, playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me just look at what they're giving up. I can't get it off the top of my head. They're giving up the second most to the tight end. So maybe you do roll Kyle Rudolph.
And we know the tight end possession is super volatile. You're hoping for a touchdown. Now I've seen Trey Burton be more involved between the 20s, getting more targets. He's also getting some long pass. Like he still has touchdown upside, just like any tight end when you're bringing out the heavy personnel and they just roll out and they're wide open. But with Irv Smith out, I think that presents more targets for Rudolph. That's just why I have more confidence playing him this week. But it's close. Every tight end is close. It's not a wide margin.
You're really just looking for either a chunk play or a touchdown, and that'll make your week. Logan, what's going on? Already hit that like button. Appreciate that, my guy. He's in a 10-man league, and 6 people are tied. He's probably out unless he can score a ton today. If there's anything we can help you with, Logan, please let us know. We are happy to help. Hunter wants to know, does he start Devontae Booker or Gio Bernard at the flex?
It's Devontae Booker, my friend.
I can't agree more with Landon. Really, really cannot.
Yeah.
Max Levy, welcome into the stream. Cooks, Claypool, or Juju. It would be great to know if it was half PPR, full PPR, standard. Start 1, start 2. Just for future. Out of this group, I think I would go.
So Cooks is gonna be the most popular kind of boom play. Like people are gonna play him on DraftKings. People are playing Cooks, projecting him to have a massive game without Will Fuller. We didn't really mention that. Will Fuller has
PEDs
took banned substances, and people are thinking Cooks is gonna go bananas. Now I think I'm tempering expectations for Cooks a little bit. I think his floor is safe, but I don't expect him to have such a bigger game than he has before. There's a realm of possibilities that Deshaun Watson just hyper targets Brandon Cooks and is the number one. We've seen that before. I'm just not. Brandon Cooks isn't that stereotypical DeAndre Hopkins.
No,
he's
true.
not a wolf.
I think if you're looking for a floor play, it certainly is going to be Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
If you need the ceiling play, though, I think Chase Claypool still has that upside with the target share he has, with his big playability. He's a 6'5" X wide receiver for the Steelers. Like, you need the big game, you need the 30 bomb, you go Chase Claypool. But I'd be tempted to play Brandon Cooks for the floor.
Yep. So it'd go Cooks, Claypool, and then Juju for us in our rankings.
Michael, Jeffrey, Villar, Pittman, or Dobbins?
So in a half PPR league, I'm going Dobbins in any scenario.
I was like, okay, what format is Landon gonna roll here? Like, is it in a point per routes run? Maybe you lean Michael Pittman. That's probably the only realm.
3 points for being a monster wide receiver.
Sure, fair
league.
enough.
You're going to go 25. Michael Pittman. Yeah.
Blaine, Devontae Booker, or Miles Sanders? Man, this is literally the question that it came down to on the podcast. It's like, would you play Devontae Booker over a guy like Miles Sanders? Miles Sanders has struggled lately. He's playing the Green Bay Packers, who, my favorite team, one of the worst against the run, like each and every week. They even gave it up to David Montgomery.
I know.
It's like, is this a place where you would expect to have confidence in him and maybe even Boston Scott if they're really going to buy into the run game? Because I think Carson Wentz struggles through the air. He's got limited options. He's been rushed to throw the football. 7 sacks last week. Like, I'm just kind of out on Carson Wentz as a fantasy option right now, but I feel like Miles Sanders is in a good spot here. I think the potential for him to have a good game against a really soft Green Bay offense is the place to go. Whereas sometimes, there is a little bit of risk sometimes, and you can speak to this, Landon, about a backup running back coming in and trying to take over the workload of a starter. There's always risk baked into that because we can't assume that the backup will be as effective as the starter. So maybe speak to that a little bit. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders.
I agree to go Miles Sanders. I do not believe this is a Brian Hill scenario of weeks past. It's not a Alexander Madison scenario of weeks past. I do believe Devontae Booker has a top 24 week this week against the Jets.
But does Miles Sanders have a top 12 week in him?
Yeah. He does. It's the Green Bay Packers. You've been waiting for this time to play Miles Sanders all year long. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. You've started him. He's disappointed. The week when you need Miles Sanders to be that 25-point running back, the Green Bay Packers are going to roll the red carpet and let it happen. If he doesn't, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You got to start your studs, just like Scotty says, because if sitting down Miles Sanders loses you your matchup, you're going to go back and be like, wait a second, I sat a running back against the Packers.
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders, who I drafted in the first round, for a backup running back with a plus matchup that got me 12 points, which people aren't going to be mad at. But if he doesn't get in the end zone, that's what he's going to get.
The Green Bay Packers defense right now is top 10 in limiting the fantasy quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end, but they are giving up the third most points on the ground to opposing running backs. They are beaten week after week on the ground. You saw the Jonathan Taylor big game. You saw David Montgomery impose his quote-unquote will last week. And Miles Sanders should be able to do the same against this Packers run defense or lack thereof. So it's close for me, but I think that Miles Sanders has the better talent. He's got the better game script. I'm going to go Miles Sanders here.
We got 38 people watching right now. Make sure to hit that like button. We are going to get to every single question.
We also have, we got to mention this, Landon. Our all-time high for a stream is 65 likes. It'd be fantastic if we could beat that today. We are here 13 weeks in a row, grinding for you, getting to every single question. So go ahead and hit that like button if you like the content that you've been hearing, and we will get to every single question.
Breaking news, Mark Andrews is not expected to play. He's not expected to be activated off the COVID list. He does have, I believe it's type 2 diabetes. So he had COVID and have diabetes. So his future in the NFL this year is in question. Make sure to add a tight end like Kyle Rudolph. Like, honestly, if he's available, like, you need to add one of these guys, like even Jordan Reed. I know it's a ongoing joke, but you need a tight end with some targets because you might not have Mark Andrews back.
You can totally add Jordan Reed, but if Robert Tonyan is available, you need to add him first, right?
Add Tonyan first. I agree with that.
Austin Presti, welcome into the stream. Should I take Miles Sanders out and slide Devontae? But play Corey Davis at the flex. So, would you play Sanders and Booker over Corey Davis, or would you rather go Corey Davis over Devontae Booker? Because he could flex both running backs. So is it Davis or Booker for the flex?
I would go Booker. Yeah,
I mean you certainly could. Sanders and Booker at the flex might be a nice play there. I do like Corey Davis this week too. That one is close, man.
Yeah, Corey Davis is good. It's just, we have a stink. There's a stink on Corey Davis. He was that top end pick. I do believe he's in play this week. But it's a great game script, great over under. It should be, if it goes towards what Vegas wants, it's going to be a massive game.
Matteo Carlucci, I need to start two: Montgomery, Sanders, and Gaskin. Whoo, baby.
So it's between Montgomery and Gaskin. Now, to be honest, these safe floor plays might be.
Is it
crazy?
I think you just got to go Montgomery, Sanders. Sanders for the awesome game script. Montgomery for the solid work. And Detroit's not the best run defense either. I think I would do a little bit of risk mitigation there and not go with Myles Gaskin.
Yeah. Montgomery and Sanders. Montgomery's in a great matchup. Yeah. I do think it's weird to say that the floor play is Gaskin Montgomery. Just like because we've seen these bust games from Sanders, and I know we're recommending to play him because he against Green Bay. But, like, we've seen him have it in, like, it's possible for Sanders just to be so bad because the Eagles are just so bad.
It's possible. I just don't think it's probable.
We're not projecting that.
Yeah, no, and based on
I just
projections, I
don't
would go
think
Montgomery,
I don't.
Sanders.
Yeah, I don't think a bust game is in the realm of possibility for Montgomery or Gaskin this week, I guess is what I'm
Tater
saying.
Tot, Gabriel Davis, Brashad Perriman, or Hardman at the flex in a non-PPR sounds like a deep league. Damn. I'd probably go Brashad Perriman.
I'd go Perriman as well. Perriman, Gabriel Davis, Hardman.
I would go Perriman, Hardman, Gabriel Davis. Okay.
Cool.
Devontae Parker or Michael Pittman. I'm probably leaning Michael Pittman there.
I understand that, and my rankings early in the season or early in the week had Parker fairly high because Fitzpatrick was in. I still have Parker higher technically, but if you need a boom play, I do believe that Pittman has a much higher ceiling against Houston.
Matt Mincy, welcome into the stream. Nyheim Hines or J.K. Dobbins? I'm going to go with J.K. Dobbins, miles ahead of Nyheim Hines.
With confidence, go J.K. Dobbins. I do think Hines will be involved a little bit here and there in that game. It's a good game script versus Houston. We want to project Jonathan Taylor as the lead back. I still have him ranked that way in that backfield. We saw him do a breakout this past week. I believe he was just a close contact, so he did not have COVID-19, which is really good news. We've seen guys come back off of COVID and really not be good.
Because it's a pandemic-like virus.
Zeke Elliott.
The one thing that I will say about if you're going to go with J.K. Dobbins, make sure he's in your flex, just in case you, for whatever reason, need to change your mind. You have that flexibility going into like maybe a Sunday night game or even a Monday game. So, because Dobbins plays on Tuesday, make sure that you move him there into the flex.
Great tips. 37 people watching. Make sure to hit that like button, guys. Let's get to 60 likes this week. We appreciate you all. We will get to every single question. But just stick around. We're going to get there, guys.
Logan says he's got too many players that he likes, and sometimes that's a good thing to have, but when you're dealing with maybe a stacked team, it's tough to set a lineup. So he's kind of in that realm there. He's got Mostert, Sanders, Gaskin, DK, A-Rob, A.J. Brown, Chase Claypool, Evan Ingram, Zach Ertz. I mean, damn. It's a nice little group of players.
Sit down, Zach Ertz, for the foreseeable future. Start Evan Ingram.
Yep, absolutely. Move on there at the tight end position. At the
go with DK Metcalf and AJ Brown.
You got to start those old Miss teammates, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. You can't stray away from those two guys. As good as Allen Robinson has been, I mean, he's targeted so much, but you got to roll with the big playability, the monster athleticism in DK and AJ Brown. And if you can, if you're in a wide receiver 3 league, then you go Allen Robinson with some confidence there over Claypool. And then your running backs, I probably prioritize them in the order you have: Mostert, Sanders, Gaskin.
Yeah, and if you're between Gaskin and, say, A-Rob in the flex, Mac.
I probably still go Allen Robinson.
There you go. And he has the upside if it's a PPR league. I'm not sure that's where he has the ceiling play.
Yep. Holy Stag, help me out with Snell or Crowder. So we don't expect James Conner to play. So that kind of lends itself to, hey, Benny Snell could have himself a decent game. Whereas Jamison Crowder is, when healthy, a PPR target monster. So where do you lean here?
Mac, they are prioritizing getting Denzel Mims targets. I think they're, even with the relationship with Sam Darnold and Crowder, I don't have the confidence I once had in Crowder to be the PPR guy he was early in the season. That was with Denzel Mims out. Denzel's going to get those targets because they need to groom this young wide receiver to be the future, to take passes from Trevor Lawrence. I would go with Snell for floor and ceiling.
Okay. Miles, don't know if you've talked about Julio yet. I'm 7-5 and need a win to make the playoffs. Do I start Julio? Other options are Ayuk and Crowder. Thanks, guys. Funny enough, I just got a text question about Julio Jones or Nyheim Hines. So maybe we can talk about Julio and answer 2 questions at once. Get 2 birds stoned at once if you like the Trailer Park Boys.
This is good, Miles. Thanks for coming in. You came in off Twitter We love the question. Julio Jones is a super tough scenario here. It does depend on if you are project. So he's 7-5. He needs a win. So I guess that does matter.
Yep.
I think you just have to, man. I wouldn't start. I'm not starting Julio with confidence, but when he's active, you have to start him. You go Julio Jones over your other options, in my opinion.
Yep.
Ayuk is a great rookie, but I still want to see him come back and be effective off of the COVID-19 list.
And we don't have a large sample size of the splits when Ayuk and Debo are both healthy and on the field at the same time. So we don't really know what the impact is, who gets the prioritized targets, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, if it's Nick Mullins. There's a lot of variables there and a lot of unknowns. But what I do know is that when Julio Jones is on the field, Matt Ryan hyper targets him. And we've seen the splits historically with Matt Ryan with and without Julio Jones, and he's much better with Julio because he's a trusted target. So I think you just got to roll your stud out. I know he's dealing with that hamstring injury, which soft tissue issue can re-aggravate, but I'm going to take the shot here on Julio. You got to kind of get out of the comfort zone there and just start him.
It's tough. You know what? It's the worst case scenario if he goes out there and runs 2 routes and is sidelined for the game. Like that's the nightmare of all nightmares. But the amount of times he's been banged up and we have faded Julio, we've been burned more often than not. So Miles, if you're still in here, hopefully you like that analysis. I do think your floor play is probably Brandon Ayuk, but if you need a must-win game and if you sit Julio when he puts down a 30-point game like we know he can, and he loses that matchup, I mean, you might lose it anyways. So
Fair.
You got to go with the big play option with Julio Jones.
And that's the realm of possibilities with Julio. It's healthy or not, it's 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, he's got that in him. We've seen a 300-yard game from Julio, which is a top 10 receiving performance all time. The guy still got it. And I would sink or swim. I would go with Julio Jones. Down with the ship.
Love it.
Shout out to Easy, longtime listener, literally from day one. Made the playoffs in a full PPR league. Thanks. He says, thanks for the tips throughout the year, boys. Facing the last place team, so he is a lock for the playoffs, either 1 or 2. Pour one out for our boy Easy. Congrats, my man. Big year for you. Michael Jeffrey Villar, Devontae Parker, Michael Pittman Jr., Myles Gaskin, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. Need 2 running backs and a receiver at the flex. I have enough confidence in both the rookies, or I guess all 3 are rookies. I have enough confidence in Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor as the 2 running backs there.
Yep. I agree. You know what? I might go Gaskin and Dobbins.
Okay.
I know I like Taylor, but I would go Gaskin and Dobbins just because of the workload I'm expecting Gaskin to get. We just got a notification that DeAndre Swift is out, just like we have in our graphic, guys. Yep. Not surprising at all. You can start Adrian Peterson or Kerryon Johnson in a desperation play.
The only reason I'm going Jonathan Taylor there, Landon, over Gaskin is the matchup is so good. Houston Texans are the second worst against the running back. They are giving up the second most fantasy points at 21.4 points per game. So Houston Texans just getting 26.2 points per game, just getting beaten on the ground. Jonathan Taylor healthy, ready to go, not COVID positive. So that's why I'm going to lean there. And then for the wide receivers, I'm going Pittman Jr. over Parker. And we kind of already talked about that one. Are you still going Parker, or did you say Pittman?
I'll still go Parker.
Okay.
But Pittman for the ceiling play if you're behind. Like there's different plays here, I think. Especially if you're sitting down Parker, maybe roll Gaskin.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing Pittman Jr., sit down Jonathan Taylor.
Eric said he's also thinking about playing matchups this week. Kirk Cousins over Kyler and Latavius Murray over Benny Snell or Antonio Gibson. Is he crazy?
He's not. He's kind of crazy. I know.
Yeah,
semi crazy. I would just go Gibson. There's been times where people have I'll give you an example. Easy. Like a couple weeks ago, we faded Derrick Henry in DFS because he was playing the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, I think he had 202.
Right.
I mean, Gibson is a stud. I think you got to still roll with your studs if he's locked into a playoff spot. You can mess around with it. I know Benny Snell is a decent start, but Benny Snell is still a backup. He's a backup for a reason. We saw Anthony McFarland sprinkle in a little bit, but Snell was the lead back for the most part. I would just go with your studs. It's not like sitting down Kyler rests him for your playoffs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's Kyler Gibson for me. Latavius Murray is interesting given the recent power run scheme they've been rolling out in New Orleans. But the Atlanta Falcons are actually a pretty solid run defense from a fantasy perspective, really just beaten all over the field through the air. But on the ground, they've been pretty good. They are giving up the third least fantasy points to opposing running backs. So I'm going to say play Antonio Gibson. The matchup is equally as bad in Pittsburgh, but he's definitely the number one option there. So I'd go there.
Yep. Austin, what's going on, man? He's asking if you should take Miles Sanders out and slide Devontae Booker.
Oh, we already got that question. We already
got
that one.
Yep. Okay. Goff versus Carr.
Goff or Carr? You know my love for Jared Goff, Lando.
I know your love for Jared Goff, and Carr just put up an absolute bust game.
But this is we said this on the podcast. This is a get right game for Derek Carr going up against the New York Jets. Man,
I like Carr. I like Carr this week.
I do as well. I would go Derek Carr there. I get a little bit crafty over Jared Goff. The Arizona Cardinals divisional matchup could go either way. We've seen the pass catchers there like Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp be as streaky as it gets, and Jared Goff either turns the ball over a ton or looks, like throwback Tom Brady, just throwing strikes out of the pocket. So tough to say. He's a little bit inconsistent. I'm going to go bounce back game against Derek Carr. Would you?
Yeah, it's going to feel gross.
It's definitely going to feel gross.
Yeah.
Would you recommend? Oh, your video is just bouncing there, Lando. Let me just reposition you. Here we go. Would you recommend starting Green Bay defense or the Ravens defense? Coming in from Mike.
Both in a good spot. I would still go Ravens D against Dallas, though.
I would as well. And Green Bay, nice spot this week. They've been good, especially secondary, but on the ground, just not great. Who has a chance at maybe more takeaways, more sacks? I would say Green Bay has a slight edge there, but the Ravens,
just because you have Wentz at the other end,
exactly, so. And a soft line. But I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with the Ravens on that one. It's close.
Yeah. Christian, CEH, I assume, or Snell.
This is a situation I would go CEH. I go the upside play with CEH.
Right. Stay tuned to make sure he is active for that game. You do have it's a late
game for both.
Late game for both. So you can wait right up to the last minute. There's a chance that CH is ruled out for this game, but he's expected to play according to reports. You still go CH for the upside. It's a stomach flu or something like it. He's just not feeling himself. So I do think it could be Snell for the floor, but if you need a win, a ceiling play, we know Clyde Edwards could get in the end zone twice, no question. Yeah,
Christian, just make sure that player is in your flex because you've got CEH playing Sunday night, and you've got Benny Snell playing Monday at 5. So just make sure that you have them in your flex so you have that flexibility in case you want to pivot off of both for whatever reason and go with a wide receiver.
We are getting to every single question. Make sure to hit that like button, guys. It really helps us out. You have no idea. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be putting out content all week. I'm going into quarantine, Mac. I might do a stream every single day to help out our listeners in the playoffs.
Damn. Do we have...
Bold.
Do you have the stones for that, Lando?
I don't know if I do. We'll have to find out. You will have to find out. Because it's going to be a grind, Mac. Maybe my girlfriend will make an appearance on here and teach you about how to be a vet too. We don't know what's going to happen. Wow. It's hard to say.
Wow, that's
maybe we'll do a wine review.
I don't know. Talk about finding a niche.
The fantasy football veterinary show.
Call me Ren, Julio Jones, or Brandon Cooks in a standard league. This is testing the Julio love here.
I'm going Brandon Cooks.
I think I would too.
Yeah, with that option, call me Ren. I think you gotta go just Cooks.
Yeah.
The game script, everything points to Cooks having a massive game. There's the risk of Julio just putting up a 0 for you.
Donut. Mark Coxwell, J.K. Dobbins, or David Johnson. Give me J.K. Dobbins all damn day.
David Johnson. No, it's J.K.
It's
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins. Brandon Charles, what do y'all think? Should I start Tua or hope Lamar gets cleared to play on Tuesday? God damn. Is there no other options?
Yeah, I'm not playing Tua, my man. I am not playing Tua. Don't feel confident in that whatsoever. I would play Derek Carr. I'd play Taysom Hill. I'd play Phillip Rivers. I'd play Cam Newton. Jared Goff over Tua Tagovailoa, my friend.
With Taysom Hill, with the Atlanta Falcons being as good as they are against the run, there's a good chance that Taysom is not as effective today on the ground in his forced throw, and he has about 25% bad ball rate, which is an uncatchable pass. I feel like he may struggle today. This is maybe a spot where he has a down game.
I do think that Tua's upside, like in Dynasty, is still high. Like, he's still going to be a fine Dynasty quarterback, especially in like a 2-quarterback league. Mm-hmm. I'm just not ready for Tua's season quite yet.
No, me neither. And bringing up Derek Carr is definitely a guy I would play over him if you want to take the risk out of it that Lamar doesn't play. So I think going Carr over Lamar this week is probably a safe option. And if you want to get risky and go for the big game, I mean, Lamar against Dallas is as good as it gets.
Yeah, for sure.
Kenny
I would
Chapp.
consider going Mitch Trubisky over Tua.
Ew. Don't you ever say that name on this channel again. Ever. Kenny Chapp, Jarvis Landry, or Sterling Shepard in the flex. I'm going to go Jarvis Landry there. Colt McCoy at the helm. I am not.
Yeah,
overly,
go Jarvis. Yeah. High over-under in that Tennessee game.
Yeah, absolutely. PPR, pick 1 running back, 2 flex, Myles Gaskin, Raheem Mostert, Wayne Gallman, Nyheim Hines, Allen Lazard, and Tyler freaking Boyd.
I'm not confident in Bengals at this point. I'm gonna go Gaskin Mostert. And pick 1 run B, 2 flex. Yeah, so Gaskin Mostert, Gallman.
Wow.
1 run.
Yeah, no, that works.
Yeah.
Lazard is someone I would love to play, but over the other 3 options with the running backs, I'll stay there for the workload. Tyler Boyd, I downgraded him and the other Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers, AJ Green, T. Higgins. They've been downgraded since Brandon Allen's come in. So, yeah, Gaskin, Mostert, Gallman probably gives you the highest floor and the highest ceiling. So I would go there. And then for your PPR tight end question, I would go Robert Tonyan over Hayden Hurst.
Correct.
Fantastic. Drew McCarty, welcome into the stream. PPR, Wayne Gallman, or Kareem Hunt. God damn.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Kareem Hunt has been super disappointing. I still think he has the potential to have a good game. I do have, I've got Kareem Hunt higher.
It's going to be Kareem Hunt for me as well.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. Boyd or Perriman, Talk W Radio. I would. Oh man, this is tough.
This definitely tests it for sure.
This test, just go Tyler Boyd and hope that just hope and pray.
Out of these 2 players, though, you're kind of saying who has the potential of getting into the end zone.
And I still prefer Boyd and his talent, man.
So
he's a great talent. He's like one of those super safe wide receivers, and we know they're going to try to get him the ball as much as possible. I know they're also forcing it to T. Higgins, but you got to go Boyd there.
Boyd's the better receiver, more talented, and I think he has a better chance to catch a touchdown today, so I'm going to go with Boyd. Peyton Reif, welcome back. Good to see your name in there. Hayden Hurst or Fersker at tight end, and Corey Davis or Cole Beasley at the flex.
He said that Rudolph is still available because he heard my love for Kyle Rudolph. Do you prefer? So I still probably prefer.
I prefer Hayden Hurst.
Hurst, then Rudolph, then Fersker is my.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
rankings.
So go
there.
first at the tight end, and then Corey Davis or Cole Beasley.
Oh man, and he said it's a full PPR. He
Didn't
say.
He did not say. We'll assume half as the default.
Can Corey Davis throw a touchdown?
Yes. Probably.
Right, so it's going to be Corey Davis for me versus Cleveland.
I agree. That's also where I'm going.
Yeah.
Easy in a 2 QB league, standard scoring, pick 2, Stafford, Goff, Rivers. Okay. I would go probably Goff and Rivers.
Yep, I like that.
A little bit, like we said earlier, we're a little bit worried about Matthew Stafford with the matchup, limited weapons, no DeAndre Swift as well. There's not a lot for him to work with there.
Yep. PPR, Devontae Booker or CEH. That's an X Neon 1C3X. This is a tough one. It depends. You got to stay up to date with the CH news, and I believe it's a late swap, so you have to put Booker in early if you're in on Booker. But Mac,
yeah, I would go Devontae Booker over CEH right now.
Go Devontae Booker, my dude. Side Gray's asking Melvin Gordon, Corey Davis, or looks like Darrell Henderson at flex.
Like DeVry? Like did Darrell Henderson go to DeVry? Is that the joke there?
He's got to spice up that name a little bit. It's too Darrell is just boring. DeVry is a little bit spicy. I'm not starting Darrell Henderson at all. I would consider even going Cam Akers over Henderson. So I think Melvin Gordon's in a really good spot with Phillip Lindsay potentially on the bench. But Mac, do you think it's between Melvin Gordon and Corey Davis then?
Melvin
for
Gordon
us?
Floor, Corey Davis ceiling. That's how I gotta leave it.
If it's a full PPR play, you could lean Corey Davis even more.
Slike. Hey guys, full PPR in a 10-team league. Please pick 2 for my running back and a flex spot. Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson, Kenyon Drake, and Deontay Johnson. Thank you for specifying that is Deontay Johnson, not Duke Johnson or David Johnson.
So I've lost our
Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson.
So we've got
Kenyon
pick 2.
Drake.
So we
got to pick 2 running backs.
Yeah, I would go Taylor and Gibson then.
I would also go Taylor Gibson, and then between Kenyon Drake and Deontay Johnson.
I would go with Deontay.
Beautiful. Believe the hype, David Montgomery or Myles Gaskin. Whoo, I think you got to go D-Mont.
Can you believe the hype? Yeah, David Montgomery there. I do like Gaskin this week, but Montgomery plays Detroit. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
We're up to 37 viewers. We have 33 likes. Our all-time record for likes is 65. So if you haven't liked the video already and we've gotten to your question, please feel free to give it a like button. We are going to be getting to every single question. At the top of the hour, we want to talk about our sponsor for the show. That is Manscaped. They are the leader in men's grooming below the belt, precision engineered tools for the family jewels. They got a lot going on for the holidays right now. Perfect time. If you jump over to Manscaped, use the promo code SNAP20 that gets you 20% off plus free shipping. They've got some stocking stuffers right now, Lando. You got any more info for us on that?
Yeah, I mean they've got ball trimmers, ball toners. They've got all kinds of great stuff for really fun stocking stuffer. And remember, you can use Snap20 promo code for 20% off for yourself, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. It's a laugh at Christmas. Make sure to check out at manscaped.com.
100%. TJ Eastman, Marvin Jones, or Sterling Shepard in a full PPR, or I could pick up Mims or Darnell Mooney. I like Darnell.
Still Marvin James Jr.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I like Denzel Mims over those two options.
Yeah, I'm still okay with Marvin Jones as the only wide receiver
that really Matt Stafford has.
Still has. That's the only one he has except for TJ Hawkinson. Right. So it doesn't feel great about it, but I would go Jones Jr.
Yeah. Derek Reyes, welcome back to the stream. Good to see your name. Hey guys, should I start Wayne Gallman, DeAndre Swift, or Jonathan Taylor? So DeAndre Swift is out. We just got that notification. He has been downgraded from doubtful to out, which we had projected on our graphic, as you can see. I would go Jonathan Taylor here, Landon.
Yeah, my rankings would have Taylor, Gallman, like that.
Taylor Gallman. Steven.
Taylor Gallman.
Yeah.
Steven, what's going on, Steve?
Steve Tadeo, Jarvis Landry, Brashad Perriman, Darius Slayton, or Sterling Shepard. I'm kind of downgrading both Giants wide receiving options there because of the Colt McCoy start, and I would go Jarvis Landry over Brashad Perriman, so I'm going to go Landry there.
Yep, Landry, Perriman, Shepard, Slayton in that order for me, my dude.
Beautiful. Believe the hype. He's starting Julio and Michael Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins. Should he sub Cooks, Cooper, or Ayuk for one of them? Thanks, fellas.
I don't think you need I don't think you need to at that point. You could put in Cooks for Julio because we've said that before. But you have Cooks for Julio. That's what I would do.
I expect there to be a little bit of shift in the New Orleans Saints game plan today. I think that they're not going to be able to move the ball like they have been on the ground, and there's going to be a little bit more of an emphasis on Alvin Kamara on the check down in the flat, Michael Thomas on shorter intermediate routes, more manageable throws for Taysom Hill to make. I do expect that shift to happen for Sean Payton today, so I would put some confidence into MT, and you just got to go with your studs, man. Cooks is definitely a play that is attractive given the Will Fuller downgrade, the six-game suspension. Say goodbye to him for the rest of your fantasy year. But yeah, dude, I think you just got to roll with your boys, your studs.
Love it.
Yep.
Bozo
Bob, what up, boy?
333. I have Mostert, Gallman, Kareem Hunt, and Gurley at running back. I think should go with Mostert and Wayne at flex. He's got Pittman or Smith-Schuster, planning on Smith-Schuster. I like how people give us kind of the context on what they're leaning. Sometimes if you have a gut feeling, guys, we can give you a confirmation bias if you want, but you got to go, you know what, if you're concerned with the usage of Todd Gurley, I would sit down Todd Gurley. You know what, I would too. That's one of those things.
The last 5 games for Todd Gurley, he's averaging 2.6 a carry. Brian Hill comes in last week. He averages 2.7 a carry. It's not a problem with the running back. It's a problem with this offensive line and what they can create. Their run scheme right now is just not good. And Todd Gurley's been building fantasy value on his ability to get into the end zone in garbage time, punching in 1-yard scores. Without that, he's not a good play. So I would go Raheem Mostert, Kareem Hunt. I would go Kareem Hunt over Wayne Gallman.
Yeah.
And then for the flex, man, that one's tough. I probably lean Michael Pittman.
Between Gallman and Schuster, then.
Yeah, I probably lean Pittman over Schuster.
So between Gallman and Pittman, I would lean Gallman.
Okay.
At the flex.
And what about Juju? Gallman over Juju or Pittman?
So if yeah.
Landon, you're a weapon. Thank you for the Antonio Gibson play last week. That is from the Camp Bass. I can't even say you're welcome, but Lando can say you're welcome because he hooked it up last week. AG just went off. I had to play in one league against a Will Fuller, Deshaun Watson, and Antonio Gibson start. It was like 100 points before the week had really even started. I lost that matchup, which I feel like the Will Fuller point should not count after he was deemed suspended for PEDs. Like, I should get those points taken off the total.
We should just find out who you're playing against every week, and then we could start those guys and move them up in our ranks.
It's been a bad year for me, man. Points against are at an all-time high. Eric Doucette. We've got Sterling Shepard or J.K. Dobbins at the flex. You got to go J.K., my man. Roll him
Go J.K.
out.
Dobbins, Eric, my dude.
Yes, sir. You gotta go back to back here for your boy, the Camp.
Camp. Bench 1, Alvin, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson. You are a mean man. I don't like you anymore, Camp. This is not fun. This is a really tough one. Can you sit Alvin Kamara is the
Yeah.
question. So you got to start Aaron Jones against Philly, even though they have a pretty good match or they have pretty good defense. I think you got to go Miles Sanders as
I
well.
think you sit Antonio Gibson after a big week.
Gibson or Alvin
No,
Kamara.
yeah, you got to play. You have to play Alvin Kamara. Must.
Yeah, you're hoping for a game script. You hope Atlanta scores against New Orleans. You need Taysom Hill to throw and check down to
Mm-hmm.
Kamara. That's what you're hoping for. If Atlanta cannot move the ball, it's going to be a Taysom Hill run show, a Latavius Murray run show. It's not going to be a Kamara game again. Um,
If anything, I'm
Gibson against
considering.
Pittsburgh's a tough
If anything,
matchup.
I'm considering
So
sitting Aaron Jones instead of Antonio Gibson. But, dude, the Pittsburgh matchup, even though AG will be, featured a ton, I'm not convinced that he will be a better option than the other three. Alvin Kamara as a pass catcher should be quite viable in this game. So like I said, I'm thinking of a shift for the New Orleans Saints going up against a good run defense. I think you got to sit Antonio Gibson down for the matchup. God,
all right,
that's tough, man.
all right.
That is a good group to work with, though.
That's a good
You're
group to
splitting
work
hairs.
with.
Like, they're all top 12 options, which is obviously a good problem to have.
He also has a bench one: Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and T Higgins. I think you got to
T.
sit T
Higgins,
Higgins.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aiden Trundy. He's got Gibson again, Justin Jefferson, or Cooper Kupp. He's got to pick two in a full PPR.
Wow. This really does test the Antonio Gibson love because Jefferson and Kupp are both solid PPR options. When you look at Cooper Kupp, though, it's like big target week, down week. Big target week, down week. I think he went like from 20 to 11 or 20 to 7 to 11 to 5. Does that mean that this week is that big target week again? I mean, the pattern kind of says to that, but that's not good fantasy analysis. I would probably just take my shot on Jefferson and Kupp here.
Yeah, we know the big game is there for all of them. Pittsburgh has been stout against the defense. Sometimes, like we've seen this season, or the Pittsburgh Steelers just lets up one massive run. They did that to Miles Sanders, and Gibson we know can do that. He's an absolute stud, but he could definitely come down to earth a little bit. So yeah, go in a PPR league. I think Kupp and Jefferson, but if you want to go with a mix of floor, it's Gibson and Jefferson.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think in a full PPR, just given how much target volume Cooper Kupp can see, I would go Jefferson for the big game going up against a Jacksonville Jaguars secondary, getting up the 5th most fantasy points per week at 26.4. He's the big guy. One big play can be a week-winning play for you. So Jefferson Kupp would be my answer, but I do understand Landon's position.
Yeah. Timo, he's got Logan Thomas or Zach Ertz, and I am going to go Logan
you can't
Thomas.
start Zach Ertz.
I'm not starting Zach Ertz. You can, if he has a big game, you can see. Then you could potentially do it with confidence going into the playoffs, but not in such an important week. Zach Ertz, we're not sure how much he's going to be involved. He's coming off a big injury. He wasn't good when he was healthy.
Make sure you guys hit that like button. We are trying to get up to a new record. 65 is our old, so please hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Claire, what's going on? Who do I drop to get Mostert out of my IR spot and onto my roster over Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I would make that start. You got Colts DST, have the Saints as well. Goddard, own Kelsey, Nyheim Hines. Other running backs are Henry and Rojo. I think you can drop Nyheim Hines, to be honest with you.
Yeah, her roster is so stocked.
Solid.
I think she's first in the league. Claire is an absolute stud. We need her on the podcast to get some
tips, man.
information from
Hell
Claire. Yeah, I don't mind your recommendation of just hitting Hines because we are expecting Jonathan Taylor to be the workhorse running back going forward. Hines is a viable start week in and week out, but because your roster is so good, I mean, I would actually. You could drop the Colts defense too if she has the Saints. Like, I don't need to. Like, we did recommend picking up 2 defenses at this time in the. Oh man, yeah, just drop Hines. If you're never gonna start Hines because she has such a good.
And that was going to be my point. You do want the Colts or the Saints defense, who have been really good for fantasy. And And looking down the stretch, you got Indy going up against the Raiders in Week 14. It's a decent matchup. You've also got the Colts in Week 15 playing I believe it's the Houston Texans. So that is solid. And then in championship week, you've got the Colts playing, where is it here? The Colts are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there's probably two places there you could play them. Mix that in with the Saints, who in championship week play the Vikings. I mean, I would rather have the ability to have those two guys instead of Nyheim Hines, who relegated to second string work with Jonathan Taylor being back.
Yeah, totally. You don't want to play the Saints in week 15, and that's the week you're going to want to play the Colts.
Luke Hoover. Hey guys, been getting a lot of good advice from you on Instagram. By the way, on social media, Twitter, Instagram, we are @snap_fantasy. He needs a win this week to make the playoffs. He's got Drake, Dobbins, Pittman, and Beasley to fill a wide receiver 2, running back 2, and a flex in a full PPR league. Man, I think you gotta go. Drake, Dobbins, Pittman, leave Beasley.
Leave Beasley behind. All right, I don't mind that. I do like that we're still in on Pittman, because we're not one of those podcasts that are just, we tout them last week and then we're just out the week after because he had a bad game. I do still think Pittman leads the wide receiver core in Indy. T.Y. Hilton was more of a flash in the pan. They want to build their offense around that big stud Michael Pittman. So I like it, Mac.
Eric in the chat's giving some displeasure to the person who hit the dislike button. It's all good, man. Maybe we're not for everybody, but appreciate the feedback.
Hey, you know what?
Way.
Whether you like or dislike, it still helps the analytics. So do whatever you like, guys. Make sure to like this video if you are still in. We will get to your question. We are driving through these questions as fast as we can to help everyone out.
Who is Mitch Trubisky, water bear for the boys? I believe the water bear for the boys is now Nick Foles. But those
Did you say water bear?
Water boy. Yeah, water bear. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, absolutely. Christian says Lockett or Claypool. Greetings from Germany. Christian, I don't know too much German. I don't even know what Guten Tag means, but I know that that's a German word. So maybe I got that right. I don't know. I would go Lockett. Lockett over Claypool.
Yeah, Lockett's been one of those guys that are just so boom bust play. I think it's in a good spot this week against the New York Giants. Hopefully the Giants can score on Seattle to make Russell get to cook a little bit. So far he's been a Friar boy lately, but you still got to go with Tyler Lockett this week.
Rich, we've talked a lot about Alvin Kamara and Miles Sanders on the stream today, and I've got confidence that Alvin Kamara is used today. I also have a lot of confidence that Miles Sanders is added to this group of running backs that continues to beat up on the Green Bay Packers run defense. So I feel good about both of them this week. I'm certainly not sitting down either of them for recent struggles. Recency bias will play no role in my decision-making for them this week.
But back-to-back, when it comes down to it, you would start Sanders over Kamara?
It's close. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So believe the hype is asking Hawk or Goddard. I would go TJ Hawkinson this week over Goddard.
So would I. We've talked about the limited options for Matt Stafford. I mean, no Kenny Galladay, no DeAndre Swift. And they drop Marvin Hall. So you're really looking at Marvin Jones Jr. and TJ Hawkinson. So I'm going to go TJ.
Love it.
Yeah. Good morning, my brothers. Lamar Jackson or Phillip Rivers? I would take the chance Lamar Jackson plays against Dallas on Tuesday.
Yeah, and there's probably a chance that Andy Dalton is available on your waiver wire. Maybe you just throw him
to have that last minute option.
Yeah.
Great play. Yep.
Yeah, and then so just drop Rivers, add Dalton, and then you have a pivot if you need it.
Diana, welcome in. Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray in a regular league. Kyler's shoulder is banged up, so I'm leaning Herbert, but I would be happy to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I put a tweet out last week, and I don't know about you, Landon, but to me, Kyler Murray just looked disinterested with football. He didn't look... He certainly wasn't looking to run the football like he normally would. no read option around the goal line. It kind of just felt to me like Kyler was going through the motions last week. And I don't know if he's dealing with shoulder pain or if he was just fed up with the game script. Kyler just seemed a little bit disinterested. And I feel like going up against the Patriots, that Justin Herbert could have a solid game. The Rams secondary has been amazing with Jalen Ramsey. I mean, that guy is shutting things down. So I think I lean Justin Herbert this week.
Yeah, the biggest thing and the reason why, or one of the reasons why Kyler Murray was such a fantasy stud was his rushing ability. He was rushing the ball in the double digits. But in the past couple of games, he's been almost scared to get out there and rush the ball. Like there in times where they pounded Kenyon Drake up the middle. Kyler would have taken that himself, did an option play and walked in the end zone no problem. But they're not doing that anymore. He's not a locked in starter every week. I have to start Kyler because I don't roster two quarterbacks generally if I have a stud like Kyler. Hopefully it doesn't lose me my week. It lost me my week last week. And
I mean, Justin Herbert's been on fire too. Last week was his worst quarterback finish on the whole year as quarterback 17. So he provides a really high floor with a big ceiling, and Keenan Allen has been unbelievable. Going to be a tough cover for Stephon Gilmore this week. I would go Justin Herbert with confidence.
Yeah, I go Justin Herbert. I mean, it's possible the Patriots do the same thing that they did to Arizona last week, but I think you still go Herbert anyways.
Let's try to double time this, Len, and get through as many questions as possible. We got to catch up here. Julio Serrano, Gibson, or Zeke? I'm going to go Antonio Gibson.
Go Gibson over Zeke.
I've got little confidence in Zeke. Brad, Cunningham, Marvin, I believe Jones Jr., Benny Snell, Kiki QT, or Christian Kirk in the flex today?
I'll go Snell.
I think I would as well. Marvin Jones Jr. is a secondary option, I think.
Yeah, correct.
New Blight Gaming, Stephon Diggs, Allen Robinson, Chris Carson, Gibson, or Gaskin in the, I'm going to say in the flex maybe for a PPR league. Stephon Diggs.
How many players do we pick from?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just prioritize then. I would go Stephon Diggs, Chris Carson, Allen Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and Myles Gaskin in that order.
Yeah, I'll go the same order exactly.
Tim Jim, full PPR start 3, T. Higgins, Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard, Christian Kirk, Cole Beasley, and Alan Lazard. No T. Higgins.
So this is like the opposite question.
Yeah, this is literally the opposite. I would go Nelson Aguilar. I would go Cole Beasley. And I would go Christian Kirk.
I like that as well. Good call.
Beautiful. Kirk Trainer, no questions this week. My team is finally all healthy. First time since week 2. Good luck, fellas. Good luck to you too, Kirk. That is the opposite issue that I'm having. I've got guys on bye, guys on COVID. It's ugly. It's ugly on this end. So I am very jealous.
Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, that killed you, man.
Not my friend.
That killed you. Yeah. CCP in the house. What's up, Crushing Cans podcast? Shout out to you. Hopefully the podcast is going well. Rated Savior. Rated Our Savior. Can I trust Russell Wilson? He's caused me to lose 3 weeks in a row. Should I stay with Russ or get Kirk or Mitchell Trubisky? You got to stay with Russ, man.
You got to trust Russ. I know he's
Russ.
Yeah, you don't want to rely on Trubisky. He does have a tendency of just ripping up the Chicago Bears, but or not Chicago, Detroit Lions.
No, Mitchell Trubisky does have a tendency to rip up the Chicago Bears. Their future winning chances, any shot at coming ahead in a game. Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky is killing the Bears.
Yeah, my boy Warren
Warren
Chuck in the chat. What's good, my man?
Latavius is the answer there at the flex.
You're going Latavius. Yeah, I would agree. Latavius over Darrell Henderson.
Yeah. Believe the hype again. Gaskin or Cooks at the flex. Pretty sure Cooks. Just making sure. I would go Cooks for sure. Should be a big workload. A little bit of risk mitigation. Go with Brandon Cooks.
I like that, my dude.
So Griffin is back finally with a question. He has a good feeling about Mostert this week, and he's sitting him for Aaron Jones. He's sitting Aaron Jones for Raheem Mostert. Do you like that move?
When it comes down to that, Griff, I mean, you got to, if you go with your gut on that like you can't listen to or look at rankings, you'll go blue in the face because you'll find everyone has a different opinion. If you have a good feeling about Mostert and just a gut feeling, we've seen him have massive games. We haven't seen it from Aaron Jones lately. If you want to look at our rankings, we have Aaron Jones higher. He plays a tougher defense, run defense, but yeah, go Raheem.
Griffin says he also has Cam Akers, Nyheim Hines, or Antonio Gibson in a full PPR league, half point per rushing attempt. He's projected to win by 5. That definitely makes things different for me. I think given the half point per rushing attempt, you have to go Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson and Mostert. It's possible that Aaron Jones builds it on efficiency, and if he doesn't bust out a big one, he might not get as many carries as those two guys.
If this is the same league and you're considering Aaron Jones Antonio Gibson over Aaron Jones, I would go Aaron Jones instead. But if it's a different league and it's a different question, I would go Antonio Gibson in that half point per rush.
Cool. Tim Jim.
Oh, we already got that question.
Okay.
You guys are absolutely killing it right now. 49 likes. We are 16 away from our all-time high. We need to get 17. We need to get to 66. So 41 of you watching right now, please make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Been on the grind. We're here each and every week. So if we've gotten to your question, you like the answer, you like the banter between me and Lando, hit that like button. Goes a long way to help us out. Aurelio is back. We need to pick 2 for him between Corey Davis, DJ Chark, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, man. Going to DJ Chark after he was out last week and then busted the week before, it feels like he is in a perfect spot against Minnesota. I do think he has a chance to have a bounce-back game. There was a Cole, what's his name, Cole Johnson, come in the DJ Chark role and had a great game. Mm-hmm. So I do believe he comes in there and can be dominant. Again, it's going to be tough. I have him barely over Corey Davis in my rankings this week, but it's mostly on the matchup and projection. The safer play is definitely Davis.
So are you going Davis Chark or Chark Juju?
I would go Chark Juju.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Cool.
Griffin also has Stephon Diggs, Devontae Parker, Michael Thomas in a full PPR. Where did that question go? Sorry, my chat just jumped.
Yeah. You got to always start Steph Diggs and you...
Yeah. Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, Devontae Parker in that order is how I would prioritize them.
Yep. Correct.
Sanak has Cook and Thielen. Should I start Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins in a must-win? So is he stacking up Kirk Cousins with Dalvin Cook, who is probable to play, and Adam Thielen, or should he start Matt Ryan with a Julio back?
I think you just got to go with Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins has been a top 5 quarterback 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, you got to go Cousins. Matt Ryan, I don't have inside my top 12 quarterbacks this week against New Orleans. With the banged up Julio, it's hard to trust. He hasn't been good for fantasy lately. Right. So yeah, just go Kirk Cousins.
Griff, you also got to go Jonathan Taylor over Wayne Gallman, in my personal opinion.
Do it up. Austin Harmon, full PPR flex. Man, that's so important to know if it's a full PPR or not, because he's got Devontae Parker and Wayne Gallman in a full PPR option.
Damn. This one's really close for me. I would probably go Devontae Parker.
Yeah, it's close as well for me. Even in a half PPR, we have Devontae Parker higher. Like I said, I was more bullish on Parker with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I think it's much closer now. Gallman has a safer floor than Parker with Tua at the helm.
Okay. The deputy, Gaskin or Dobbins all day.
Go Dobbins with confidence. I'm excited for that game. I'm excited to see Dobbins show out with the only game on. It's Monday or Tuesday.
Like, both of them have risk baked in, given that they're coming back from injury or COVID. Gaskin has a full workload, but I think that so does J.K. Dobbins. And the Baltimore Ravens can run the football at will, and the Dallas Cowboys present little to no resistance on defense. So I'm going to go with J.K. on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I really hope we're not pulling out our hair and see Gus Edwards just in there more often than we should.
What did Gus Edwards do last week, Landon?
Yeah, nothing. And it was the Justice Hill show. So, you have to project, based on what we've seen, you have to project that JK will just go in there and supplant what both Edwards and Justice Hill did last week.
Cy Gray, should we be picking up and stashing Jalen Hurts in case of need? Primary quarterback is sat down, injured, or bye during the fantasy playoffs. I don't think it's a bad move. I think Carson Wentz is bordering on that fence. He might be sat down at some point.
Yeah, I think it's a savvy move to pick up Jalen Hurts. I think I picked him up. I don't know if I got him. Yeah. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You won't feel confident starting Jalen Hurts even if he is the starter. So I don't think it really matters that much. Depends on who you're dropping instead of Hurts.
MMA Sucka, I posted on Twitter about Latavius Murray, or Kyler Murray or Ryan Tannehill. Did you talk about this? No, we haven't yet, but I would go Kyler Murray there against the Rams over Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill's in a great spot, but I think depends on what you need at the quarterback position, honestly. If you need a full high upside 30-point game, I do believe Kyler still presents that over Tannehill, but Tannehill, I do think, has a very safe floor. If all you need is a 20-point game, it's a super high over/under. We know that AJ Brown can take a slant to the house. We know Derrick Henry can take a screen to the house. Corey Davis has been involved. I think Tannehill is a safer floor than Kyler this week.
Safer for sure. The ceiling game, I think, is in Kyler.
Yeah.
Derek Leacott, morning boys, been playing running back roulette all year, and it's finally caught up with me. Should I roll Gio, Cam Akers, or Duke Johnson this week? Damn. And the grossest question of the week, the ball toner question of the week, goes to Derek Leacott. I would go Cam Akers here, and the reason I say this, Gio Bernard has been disappointing week after week. Duke Johnson, we project for him to lose the starting role this week to David Johnson in his return. Cam Akers, we haven't seen the switch yet. It's not like the Rams have come out and said, Cam Akers is our guy, we're giving him the ball, but he has big playability. In the 9 carries he had last week, he busted one off for a 61-yard run. He's got that chunk play ability. They might give him the ball more. So I'm going to go with Cam Akers for the true upside here, and that's really all you're looking for out of these 3 options.
It's really tough. Yeah, Cam Akers is someone I added, but I'm not starting. But based on those options, I think you got to.
Yeah. Kayla Williams, welcome into the stream. Should she start the Vikings or Chargers DST?
I think both are not terrible. I've got the Vikings slightly higher in my rankings. I think the Chargers are in a nifty little spot where Bosa is just he blows up the game and can strip sack Cam, no question. So pound for pound, I would just go Vikings against Jacksonville. But Chargers are a sneaky play.
The Minnesota Vikings secondary has not been great. And
No.
I thought the Cleveland Browns, coming off a huge performance in Week 11, were a smash play last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Mike Glennon, once again, proved to be more competent than we gave him credit for. Is it possible that happens again? I think that there's a good chance. But forcing Cam Newton to throw against a tough LA Chargers secondary, and with Nick Bosa back as a difference maker on the defensive side, I kind of want to go Los Angeles Chargers for a bigger play, like a strip sack for a touchdown or a pick 6. I really do think that is in the realm of possibilities today for them.
I like it. John Fenton. Morning, guys. Full PPR. Never thought I'd be asking this, but Zeke or Gallman, and also Hurst or Gesicki.
So I don't have as much confidence in Wayne Gallman as you do, Landon. So I would go Zeke here.
Yeah.
I would also go Hayden Hurst over Mike Gesicki. I'd like to know your thoughts, though.
I agree. Without Fitzpatrick, it's Hurst over Gesicki, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Beautiful.
Just kidding.
We got 32 of you watching, 57 likes. We are 9 away from a new all-time high of 66 likes. If we can get to 66, we'll go right up to game time. We usually stop at 12:45, but I've already set most of my lineups. And if there's any last-minute stuff, I'm gonna stick with you guys and try to help you out because I've locked up a couple playoff spots already. So let's get it to 66, and we'll extend the stream from 12:45 up until 1 o'clock. And we'll continue to get to every single question. You guys have been killing it today. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the love. And we'll keep going. So, Jacob,
I would still go. I would go Zeke over Gallman to just
perfect. Jacob Toby, would you go with Darnell Mooney or Alan Lazard in a full PPR?
Lazard all day, baby.
I would also go Lazard, 100%.
Yeah.
Even though I like Darnell Mooney for, what could be with him, especially if Allen Robinson finds a new team in the offseason, because that's in the realm of possibilities. This is why I think you don't check out of fantasy football if you lose this week, you don't get a playoff spot, because there's always guys that break out at the end of the year that have a bigger role come next year, and if you tune out, you miss it. So we think back in years past, like Deebo Samuel, for example, broke out at the end of the year, had a huge playoffs, and given health this year would have been so viable. But Darnell Mooney could be, an X receiver for them if Allen Robinson moves on. So I would pay attention to him down the stretch.
Love that. Griffin, he's got Ebron, Rudolph, and Evan Engram. I like Ebron the best out of that. He's got the best option there.
If you're looking for a touchdown, it's definitely Eric Ebron. If
your German words are good.
Hey, guten Tag. If you're looking for more of a volume play, I think it's still Evan Engram.
Yeah, I just don't trust the quarterback there. That's all.
Colt McCoy is starting today for the New York Giants. Nancy Lee, welcome on. I love. I assume Nancy is female, but I love the girls in the stream. We got Claire. We've got Nancy. We had who else did we have?
Hey man, we've got Sonia right down the chat
Sonia right
here.
Down below. Diana, man, like the women here representing women in fantasy, man. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Kids show.
Where did that question go? My chat jumped here, Landon. Maybe you can help me out.
I'm
Nancy
all over
Lee,
the place too.
Kiki
Nancy,
QT, Jacoby Myers, or Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
I don't buy
I
don't buy into that Kiki QT has an increased role with Will Fuller out. I really just don't.
Yeah, I'm going Lazard.
Lazard is good with me. Jacoby Myers a close second. Thanks for the question, Nancy. Appreciate you. Deion James, Sterling Shepard, or T. Higgins in half PPR. Hope you guys have a great one. Oh man, we're both dealing with backup quarterbacks here. I'd probably go T. Higgins for the touchdown upside.
I would go T. Higgins. They're trying to get him the ball. I like that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Zach Foster, welcome back. Any concerns about Jordan Howard being a massive thorn in the side of Miles Sanders owners?
No, I don't.
Does he mean Myles Gaskin though?
No. Jordan Howard was activated by the Eagles.
Oh, was he? Okay, I missed that. That's kind of a weird move, but no, not at all. I would say that Boston Scott would get work over Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Why did they pick up Jordan Howard?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Brandon Cooks or Brandon Ayuk from Harris YT. Brandon Cooks miles ahead.
Yeah, go Brandon Cooks, Harris YT, no question.
Sonia, I also share those sentiments with the displeasure for the Lions and the Bears, so I'm right there with you.
Austin.
Hold on. Sonia has a huge question here, which we need to answer. Beyonce or Gaga?
Oh.
It's not even close for me.
Beyonce.
Yeah, it's Beyonce. You got to go with the queen, man. Like Lady Gaga, I really loved watching the Super Bowl special on her because she just balls out. But Beyonce's Beyonce, man. Like, she's
Beyonce, Beyonce is the queen. Sonya's still in the chat. This is hilarious because she has no interest in football whatsoever.
Appreciate you being here, though, Sonya. Peace and love, man. Austin Martinez, Wilson or Cousins? You got to trust Russ.
Trust the Russ. Listen to Sonya. She knows what's up.
My question likely was more intriguing before Jonathan Taylor was activated, but start 2 in a full PPR. Miles Sanders, Nyheim Hines, or Devontae Booker. Sanders, Booker, book it. Zach?
Book it.
The Airwaves, the Mercado Airways network. Let's say Dalton is sitting on someone's bench. Do I pick up Baltimore backup or Nick Mullins from San Francisco? I would pick up Nick Mullins. I'm not trying to get Trace McSorley as my backup quarterback.
So he says he's going with Lamar. I would just go with Lamar. I think he's going to be active for that game. I don't see him not.
And I would I'm good with that. Brad Cunningham, stream Jordan Reed or Trey Burton in a PPR.
I feel better with Trey Burton, to be honest.
I'm glad I didn't want to go down another.
I'm not going to go there. I'm just not going to go there. All right.
Appreciate the love in the chat. Ty to Bear 13, Eckler or Keenan Allen at the flex. Damn.
Oh man, you got to have a better because you start both guys.
Yeah, ideally you would start both.
Yeah.
And if you had to pick, had to, I think you gotta go Austin Eckler, given what we saw last week. But Keenan Allen has been so good.
Same game, same team. Doesn't matter. It's a tough matchup for both against New England.
Ty, you've got to be able to start both, man. There's got to be a way. Unless you're playing in a really shallow league where you've got awesome options all over your roster. But
yeah, I would start Eckler as well. I'll just start the running back.
Yeah. Vade is here from Twitter. Appreciate you. Frank Gore or Julio in a full PPR. I mean,
you have to go.
Julio. The only real chance you have for Frank Gore to be relevant is if he falls into the end zone, and I would rather take the potential volume and hyper target from Matt Ryan to Julio Jones this week. So that's kind of where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Landry or Deontay in a half PPR. I would go Deontay Johnson.
I would go Deontay as well. Jonathan Baines, he's got a big decision, playoff deciding. Oof. Pittman or Booker, PPR.
Devontae Booker.
Go Devontae Booker. You heard it here from Mac. That's a big move for Mac. You know what? We've swayed him to the Booker train.
Yeah. The only reason I lean that way is because Devontae Booker has been the pass catcher as well. So if he's used in both facets of the game today, running and receiving, I think the potential workload for him is quite high, and a soft matchup against the Jets is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with Crushing Cans podcast. Tua really hurts Parker's upside and value. Completely couldn't agree more. I was really hoping for Fitzpatrick to start this game.
I'm looking at some of these responses from the Beyonce and Gaga, and some of them are hilarious. Like Beyonce in a full PPR. I love
Gaga in the standard league. All right, I see
like
that.
In a full makeup league, I would go Gaga, just because she needs it. But man, Beyonce in all other formats.
Yeah, Gaga, she has her value in certain leagues, man. Like she went out on her own and did her thing and really changed the game for some pop music. But I think Beyonce is just she's the queen, like you said.
100%, man. She is the queen. The king in the north, Wayne Gallman or Devontae Parker at the flex in a full PPR. I know you discussed it earlier, but I missed it. I went Devontae Parker. I'm not as big of a Wayne Gallman lover as Landon.
Yeah. Jacob, sorry about that. Mooney or Lazard? I think we said Lazard in a full PPR.
We did get to his question. We just kind of skipped it. Maybe it comes up different for me in the stream than it does you guys, but yeah.
Chris also asked about Dobbins or Hunt.
I would go Dobbins there.
Yeah, I would also.
I'm really buying into a big game, big workload, no Mark Ingram still. I think this is truly where J.K. Dobbins just pops.
Yeah.
Jared Frey, he has absolutely lost his marbles. Starting Booker and Gallman over Kamara this week. 9-3. I hate Taysom Hill with all my heart. I would go Booker and Kamara. You cannot start Wayne Gallman over Alvin Kamara. It's just crazy.
That is craziness. I actually have that in a league where I need to switch my lineup before game time and put Kamara back in.
I'm going to say this time and time again because I truly believe it happens today. There's going to be a shift in that Saints offense. They won't be as productive on the ground. They're going to have to utilize their playmakers in space like Michael Thomas on short slants and Alvin Kamara in the flat or design screens. They're going to have to. Atlanta is giving up the third least points to opposing fantasy running backs. So I think Taysom Hill is forced to maybe use his arm a little bit more today.
You see this? Sonia's saying Lyle and I are going to try to play a game to see how many times they can get Lando not to pay attention to Mac. Not that hard.
Yeah, not hard at all. Sonia, you would have a lot of success in that game.
Thanks, Jack. We appreciate the love, guys. We are at 63 likes. We're only 2 away from our all-time best. You guys can get there. Thank you so much. You guys are killing it. I can't believe how popular the stream has been. If you haven't subscribed, please do like the video. I don't know what else to say, guys.
I also just love like Sonia coming in and having no interest in the football, but just ripping up the chat.
Zero.
It's been hilarious. Darian, start 2, Debo, David Johnson, Corey Davis in a half PPR.
What's your confidence level in David Johnson this week? Because he was pretty good for fantasy when he was healthy.
The confidence in David Johnson is somewhat high, but going up against the Indianapolis Colts is a tough one. So I'm gonna sort of pivot, and if David Johnson looks great, back to full health, he can prove you wrong on your bench and not prove you wrong when you start him. So I go Debo and Corey Davis.
What's everyone's turnip prices? They're at 110. Any Animal Crossing fans in the house here? We've got.
Bro, Chinese just came out of your mouth there. I had no idea what you're talking
about. That's I agree. I sit down David Johnson this week, Mac.
Okay. Ahmad, welcome into the stream. Amari Cooper or Devontae Parker in a full PPR.
I would just go with Amari.
I would too. I think with Tua coming in, it certainly hurts the volume.
It sucks.
Volume play.
It sucks because the matchup is much better too for Parker.
They both have the big playability potential, so I would go Amari Cooper. Yeah. What are we doing here on likes, Landon? We have 64. We need 65. 2 more in the next 2 minutes, and we will extend the stream another 15 minutes, please. And thank you. Love the support. Love you guys. This has been unbelievable today. Curtis, he's got Eckler, Devontae Booker, Wayne Gallman, and Myles Gaskin. He needs 2.5 PPR. Eckler Booker. Don't even think
Eckler
twice.
Booker. Bucket.
Start. Blaine says start Claypool or Aguilar in a full PPR.
Start Claypool. You could have ended that at the sentence at that mark.
Jacob said he appreciates the input. Felt Lazard was more reliable, but Mooney's facing an easier defense. Yeah, you got to go Alan Lazard.
Devontae Parker or Corey Davis? How's your love for Corey Davis surpassed Devontae Parker?
They are very. Do you have a quarter nearby? I just flip it and that's.
I don't think it's fallen that bad for me. I think you still go Devontae Parker in my books.
Love it. Jack says, how good is Brandon Cooks now? I mean, also all signs have to point to a bigger workload.
I will do a video on
Brandon Cooks.
The receivers for Houston this week. I think that's probably going to be our Monday show, depending on what happens this week for them.
Let's commit to a Monday video on Brandon Cooks once we kind of get to see how this wide receiving core plays out with the absence of Will Fuller. Maybe we see more on a 2 tight end set with Darren Fells, Jordan Akins. Maybe we see a guy like QT or DeAndre Carter step up. You never know.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, we got to 68, man. Let's go.
69 on my books. We're in.
Let's get to 70. You guys can do it.
We're getting to 70.
Come on.
We're getting to 70. Don't trust the quarterback. They'll break your heart. They
absolutely will. Week in, week out. Kyler broke mine last week. He absolutely crushed me in the listener league.
Couldn't agree more. Devontae Parker, T. Higgins. I would still go Devontae Parker
Yep,
there.
I would as well.
King of the North. Is that Scotty? Is that Scotty's alias?
The King in the North.
Yeah.
He's.
Oh, Scott's King of the North. This is King in the North.
No, he is Scott of the North.
Scott of the North. You guys need to battle it out. I don't know.
Eagles love to make running back shareholders pull all their hair. Yes, they do. Absolutely, they do.
That's correct. And I said that earlier, Zach, that it's like we have so much confidence in Miles Sanders this week. His floor is lower than some of these other guys like Gaskin, in my opinion, and Gallman, where their floor is probably 8 points, where Miles Sanders could have a 3-point game, and you're just tossing your hands in the air like, how is David Montgomery now a better running back?
I would still go David Montgomery over Zeke.
Okay, yep, I like that.
And Thomas also asked Taysom Hill or Deshaun Watson.
Oh, no.
I think you got to go Deshaun. Even though the matchup is harder on paper, Deshaun still has weak winning upside.
No question. He's a winner. He's a baller. He's a winner. You got to go Deshaun over Taysom.
Yeah. He can extend plays, scrambling out of the pocket. He does have a rushing floor like Taysom Hill does. Maybe not as much at the goal line, but he's able to extend plays. He's much better with his arm. I would go Deshaun. Delusional Tanner, half PPR, Mike Williams or Brashad Perriman, deep league must-win position. I think you got to go Mike Williams for the upside there. Got the touchdown upside, got the big playability with Justin Herbert, who likes to push it downfield. I would go Mike Williams.
I agree. I think Mike Williams he's locked into Justin Herbert, who's a great deep ball thrower. He's the best 50-50 ball receiver in the league by what seems like a lot.
Nice to see that Dan is with us. Do not start Zeke. Laugh my ass off. Fumbling 10 times against the Ravens defense. It'll be interesting to see how they roll out Tony Pollard. I know that when in limited Zeke work, he only got like 6 touches. So I would expect maybe to see a little bit more Tony Pollard if Zeke struggles, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Mercado Airwaves Network, Snap Fantasy Football Podcast is the truth. These boys are going places. Wait till 2021 in a normal season, man. Appreciate that love so much. Glad you are here with us. Jack Hurley says CEH or Deebo Samuel.
I think you still have to go CEH. Okay. Are you leaning Deebo there? I was
leaning Deebo there.
Okay.
If you want an option that has a little bit more stability, like there is still a possibility that CEH misses. He's dealing with an illness.
Yeah, it's possible, and hopefully we'll know. So that's a late game. You might the safe floor would be probably Deebo then.
Zach, you are welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate you. Sonia, we love those questions. Your job next week is to come back with another polarizing question like the Gaga and Beyonce question, which to me wasn't close, but we had some Gaga truthers in the chat. So we're going to have you there. Brad, you are welcome. Love to see you for the playoffs. We will be here next week as well, making it 14 straight weeks. Prozac 12-808, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, or Jonathan Taylor, or DJ Chark for the flex. Damn.
Kupp, Taylor.
We got to order the... I got you.
Kupp, Taylor, Chark, Deebo.
Yeah, it would be Kupp and Jonathan Taylor for me.
Montgomery or Dobbins?
Dobbins. Not even close.
Should I start or sit Eckler? I would sit... Zeke Elliott.
It depends on your other options, but I would lean to sit
Elliott.
Booker, Dobbins, or Jonathan Taylor. Damn.
You know what? Just go Booker and Dobbins.
What?
We've probably gone back and forth on that before. Like, this is, I don't know. I'm just having this for specifically Addy, I'm going to give you different advice and tell you to sit.
I'm going Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor.
Dobbins and Taylor. All right.
I know what Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins are. I don't know what Devontae Booker is in the absence of Josh Jacobs. Will they feature him the same way they do Jacobs? Will he be as efficient and effective as Josh Jacobs? We don't know. But I know that Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins will be solid. Robert
Yeah.
De Niro, thanks for coming in from the movie set. Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, pick 2. Gross.
Kirk is my
I don't
only
want to go
one.
Judy Kirk there.
Yeah, Judy has not been great.
Okay, well, last week we have to throw that dud game out. They had a wide receiver playing quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Judy and Kirk. Then you're right.
Sammy Watkins is a tertiary option. Hollywood Brown, who should not be called Hollywood Brown, has lost his allure, man. He's like wide receiver 50 on the year. Been terrible.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Addy, we got your
the
question
from
Hopefully
Addy.
You're still in the chat. Make sure to like this video. We appreciate you coming in.
Austin Kohler. Standard league, quarterback position, Lamar or Cousins. And then the flex spot, Michael Pittman Jr., Marvin Jones, or Benny Snell.
I would just go Cousins just in case Lamar is out. Lamar hasn't been great even when he has been healthy. So just roll with Cousins this week, and then I would go with Benny Snell at my flex.
I'm going to put a little bit of context into this. If you are needing the big game, I think you take a chance on Lamar, because if you are, well behind in your matchup, it doesn't matter if you get 0 out of Lamar or you get a decent game. If you need the big game, I think you go Lamar. Dallas gives up so much to the quarterback. Flex spot, I'm still in the Michael Pittman Jr. realm for the big game, kind of thinking along the same lines. But if you want to be a little bit more conservative, I think Landon's approach is good.
Yeah.
Ben Porter?
Ben Porter. Flex Deontay Johnson, Gaskin, or Allen Robinson, full PPR. That's close between
Robinson and Deontay for me.
Yeah. I would probably go Robinson because he is the weapon there. And he was good again with Trubisky in garbage time. He should be good again with Trubisky against Detroit.
Yeah, the better matchup is there. Washington's been pretty solid. I would go Allen Robinson slightly over Deontay Johnson, but I think they're both solid options. Will McCarty, Ezekiel Elliott, or Nyheim Hines in a full PPR? I would go Elliott in that case.
That's where we go Elliott.
That is the line. Crazy, man. Achilles 84, bench Zeke for Booker, standard scoring. I'm down.
The king of the north. Scotty has a new friend.
Do you agree, Zeke or Booker over Zeke?
Yep, I would go Booker over Zeke. No question.
And we are almost all caught up. Paul Zapata, would you play Zeke Elliott or J.K. Dobbins? Oh, I'm going J.K. Dobbins all day long.
Go J.K. Dobbins.
All day long. Keep them in your flex though, because in case you wanna have that flexibility to change. They're playing each other on Tuesday. Just make sure they're in your flex so you have that flexibility.
I like that, Mac. That was a ton of fun today. We're caught up with the chat, so if you're still in here, all right, Jesse Johnson in a standard league, Drake or Devontae Parker at the flex. I would just go Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I would as well.
And then do you play Zeke or J.K. Dobbins? Yep. And then CEH or Murray straight up. Gino.
Straight up, man.
You're thinking Murray. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
The only thing that makes it tough is given that Latavius Murray plays at 1 and CEH doesn't play until tonight. You got to make that decision now. There is a possibility that CEH doesn't play dealing with an illness. He could be inactive, and Le'Veon Bell could have that job. That's why they brought him in as an insurance policy. So I would probably just take the risk out of it and go with Latavius.
Just go Latavius, and then maybe you have a Benny Snell available on your waiver wire or something like that. That's check. You got to make sure on these tough decisions when guys are questionable for late games, Monday, Tuesday games, you order all your players and what time they play, and make sure your flex plays are the late games.
100%.
Like Mac was saying.
I think we're still sitting at 69. We need one more light, guys, to get to 70. It's a nice round number, new record today. You guys have been absolutely crushing it. We've got a couple more questions here and a 5-minute warning. Austin, you're welcome for the advice, man. Been a crazy year from COVID, but you guys have made it so much more special. Paul Zapata back again. Last one, Juju Smith or Amari Cooper. I'm probably going to go Amari Cooper there.
Yeah, I'll go Amari Cooper as well. Make sure to like this video. We need one more like, guys. Get to 70. We will do it. Paul, yeah. Jefferson or Gibson at the flex. I would just go Justin Jefferson, Antonio. Yeah.
Wide receivers are Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, like that. Running backs are Miles Sanders and, oh man, Chubb has been a beast. So yeah, I like Justin Jefferson.
Likes, guys. Thank you so much.
Paul.
Thank you so much, Paul. Paul, what up? Thanks for coming by. We appreciate all of you guys so much.
72. You guys are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's do it.
Pick 2 PPR: Kareem Hunt, Wayne Gallman, Frank Gore, or Lat Murray. Boys, if I win, I'm in the playoffs.
Help ya man out. I would go Kareem Hunt and Latavius Murray.
I would go Kareem Hunt and Wayne Gallman.
Okay. Gino, Paul, thank you for the like. If you guys like the channel, feel free to subscribe as well. We do this each and every Sunday. Today we're going into overtime. You guys killed it, so we're going to continue right up until game time. Good luck this week to everybody. Seriously, I hope you guys get into the playoffs. We're going to do a couple videos on your request, one of which from this stream is Brandon Cooks. We're going to do a Monday video tomorrow, so keep your eyes out for that. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to make sure you catch us when we're streaming, Landon might be doing so more this coming week. Click that bell. You'll be notified when we're going to go live.
I'm going into quarantine, guys, so I am available to stream every single day.
Oh, man.
Pretty much.
Oh,
I'm willing to do it. I got nothing else to do, man.
We got a couple more here right at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Achilles. Last one, and it's a tight choice. Deontay Johnson or Cooper Kupp in standard scoring.
Standard scoring league. I would go Deontay Johnson.
I would go Deontay Johnson as well. That one is close.
That's very close. That's very close.
Where I would lean. Paul, I think David Johnson out plays Zeke in points this week. That one's close. That one's really close. Potential though. The matchup is better for David Johnson.
Yeah, totally. I've got Deebo Samuel or Kenyon Drake at the flex, Mac. Asking for myself.
I would go Deebo Samuel. Yep.
Yeah, Deebo or Wayne Gallman. I've got Gallman in that league as well. Deebo. Yep. All right, leave Deebo in.
You can answer one from Gino Benetti says rocking Cousins over Lamar in a must-win. It's risk mitigation, man. It's like, can you afford to hold out? And if Lamar doesn't play, what are you stuck with? Like Andy Dalton maybe is a streamable play, but I would rather go Cousins over him. So if it's a must-win, I think the big game lies with Lamar against a really soft Dallas defense. But if you can't stomach having Lamar not play potentially, then you go Cousins. But if you're behind, I think you go Lamar.
I like that.
I have that situation where I've got I got a couple Zeke or Darrell Henderson. I would go Zeke as much as I hate that. I'm gonna play J.K. Dobbins over CEH. That's my tough one today, and I've got to activate him off IR. So who do you drop? Do you drop Denzel Mims to bring him off of the IR? I think that's the only real play.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably.
Achilles 804. You guys are awesome. Week 13. Let's get him into the playoffs locked in. Good luck to all. Absolutely, man. Good luck to you. Appreciate you being here. And 12:59. We got a minute till game time. So make sure that you set those lineups. You get those later players into the flex. Those Sunday night games. Those Monday night games. Even a Tuesday game. Make sure those guys are in your flex. Good luck this week. Appreciate you guys. 75 likes. You absolutely killed it. We will be back next week. And again, a special thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, for sponsoring the show. If you are looking for some stocking stuff or some holiday gifts for your loved ones, www.manscaped.com. Use the promo code SNAP20, get 20% off plus free shipping. Christian, I would play Claypool over TJ Hawkinson. Good luck this week. We'll see you guys next week and get that win, get into the fantasy playoffs.